Like, I hear women say this all the time. I know a lot of you sisters be like, chivalry is dead. Don't you? Don't y'all feel that way? Like men aren't gentlemen anymore? That's right. Chivalry is dead, and women killed it. There's a fundamental difference in the way we're gonna see things. We're not gonna see eye to eye on this issue. We're just not.
I haven't seen this, but I think I can already have an idea.
No, this is different than you think it's gonna be. This is too much. Girlfriend got stuck.
Bail out. Just bail.
She got stuck. She didn't want to throw it. So now she's trying to get guys to come over and help her to lift that thing off her back. And I guarantee you there are guys that saw what was going on and were like, I'm staying out of this. I don't want to be in some video. I'm not getting involved. I'm approaching her, all that. And this is what I say about like feminism wrecking men, because your natural instinct as a man would just be like, let me go over and help this woman, right? Normal. You gotta be afraid to do everything now. And I think that's why when people say the death of gentlemen and all this, women complain. I saw a video of a very prominent female figure being like, oh, all the good men are gone. It's like, well, you killed them. You killed whatever was inside of them that would have made them actually act like men. Guys are afraid to be men.
Yeah. Feminism has disincentivized men from being gentlemen.
The modern woman has killed chivalry. Society ingrained in men's psyche that men had to support women and always help them, open doors for them, always pay for dates, carry the heavy stuff on women's behalf, do all the hard labor, fight in the military, always accept the harshest conditions, save all the women from a sinking ship, and go down with the ship, and to act as protectors and providers to women. Feminism came along and made these modern women stop being ladies, disrespecting men, calling men trash, and they even went as far as to say they don't need men. These modern women became also entitled, demanded gender equality, and any form of chivalry from a man was deemed sexist, demeaning, and proclaimed by these modern women that chivalry makes women look weak and dependent. These women call chivalry as benevolent sexism. So now men are not being chivalrous anymore. Men do not see any need to be polite, courteous, or helpful to these women anymore.
Feminism is the worst thing that ever happened to women. Our job used to be no job. We had it so good. We could have done the smart thing, which would have been to continue playing dumb. And then all these women had to show off and be like, we could do it. We could do anything. Bitch, shut up. Don't tell them the secrets. They ruined it for us. Now we're expected to work. When I hear the phrase double income household, I want to throw up. A lot of women get very upset with me about those comments. A lot of my friends, when we walk around together, they'll get very judgmental about housewives that we'll see on the street. And they'll be like, look at that fucking housewife not doing anything. Look at that housewife just walking around all day, getting massages in her Lululemon pants. I'm like, that bitch is a genius. She's not a housewife, she's retired.
Although hilarious, this lady is right. When a woman speaks out against feminism, many modern women will accuse her of buying into misogynistic thinking. Feminism brainwashed women to reject femininity and embrace masculinity. Gender equality was abused by the feminist movement to the detriment of the nuclear family and society as a whole. Men and women have always been complementary to each other, but feminism seeks to destroy this, treating men as enemies and oppressors. Feminism tells women that it is okay to be sexually promiscuous by pushing idiotic catchphrases like, your body, your choice. Being in a stable, fulfilling marriage is detested by feminists who trash the traditional gender roles. So, if a woman chooses to get married, to have a family, to not pursue a career and instead create a warm and loving home for her husband and children, these feminists throw tantrums and fits.
They're drafting women now for war. Okay, let it be known when the feminist movement was happening, I didn't support it. Because not a day, and you can screenshot this, send to the Times, baby, not a day did I support and want equal rights with men. No, I have always wanted more rights, okay? Favoritism, sprinkle, sprinkle. So the only army I'm serving in is the Lord's. Thank you. Amen.
They're treating you like equals. That's what we asked for. Not only that, but let's be realistic here. If more men offered up their seat, a lot of women would automatically assume that he expects something out of it, or that he's flirting with her. He could be a married man. Or some women would even get angry. Oh, what, you don't think I'm capable of standing up? Men literally can't win. He opens a door for a woman and gets yelled at for the same thing. Men don't owe you anything. And this entitlement here is a big reason why a lot of men don't want to do these things. Because you're expecting it. You're mad that they're not doing it automatically. So what, if a man realistically offered you his seat, would you have said thank you? Would you have been grateful? Or would you have just taken it and not said anything to him? Because you expect it. He's required to give it to you. And the reality is he's not. So enjoy standing up.
Women oftentimes now are saying that chivalry is dead. The truth of the matter is, I don't believe that chivalry is dead. I experience chivalry all the time. A smile, a pleasant attitude, a thank you. All of those things send off the signals for men to say, oh, here is a woman. I should help. I should do the gentlemanly thing. But when you walk around with an attitude, with a kink in your neck, when you walk around just visibly looking unpleasant, men don't offer themselves because, frankly, why would they open themselves to that type of energy? So for the women out here who feel like, you know what, where are the days of men holding the door open for women? They exist. I experience them all the time. Stop looking at the entire world and saying, all of you are the problem, and come about it a bit differently. Try smiling. Try being nice. Try saying thank you. Women don't go above and beyond for thankless men either. Let's just call it what it is. Be a decent person. Be a welcoming person. Be a nice, kind person. And you'll get that energy back.
Sorry to burst your bubble, lady. Chivalry is dead. Period. This lady may have attributes that bring out the chivalry inside men she encounters, but for the majority of these modern women, the men could care less. These modern women have made it crystal clear that any effort by any man to act like a gentleman, hold a door for them, give up a seat for them will not be tolerated and is considered toxic masculinity. When a man tries to be chivalrous, he is termed a creep. So men have completely crushed any chivalry in them.
I was a feminist when feminism was about equality, about leveling the playing field, giving women an opportunity to find their rightful place, particularly in the public world, which was tremendously important and exciting when we achieved that. But what feminism today, to me, is all about advantaging women at the expense of men. And it's become very much caught up in the demonisation of males, presenting them always at a disadvantage. And I don't want to have any part of that.
You got women out here saying, oh, I can open my own doors. Yeah, of course you can. Doesn't mean you should. Listen, as a gentleman, you pull out chairs, you open doors, and you carry things, not because women are unable, these frail little objects, but you do it simply to show that you respect her presence. You have admiration for her. You want to take care of her.
We are the queens of the universe. Men have forgot that we are the queen of the universe. We are the womb. Without us, we cannot create life. This universe would not thrive without women. And men seem to forget that, and women give that power to men to forget that.
Do women create life or do women carry life?
We do both.
I mean, doesn't it take two people?
It does. However, if you have an island with 12 men and 1 woman, you would have a thriving society. However, if you have 12 women and 1 man, you would only have a limited society, and it would not grow on from here on out. For 100 years, you would not have anything.
But don't men create more life since they can get more women pregnant?
No, because if you have 1 man and 12 women, you have a thriving society because women create the life. However, if you have one woman and 12 men, you get a lot. With 12 men and 1 woman, you get more.
What?
Only a lunatic would spew the filth coming out of this woman's mouth. She has the nerve to say that without women like her, the universe would cease to exist. These modern women are so full of themselves. Their sense of entitlement and arrogance, let alone foolishness, is sickening. This woman is an example of a toxic brain-dead feminist who thinks men are not worthy to be part of society. This is indeed a core mantra for feminists, which is to degrade, demean, and destroy manhood. Men were known to be providers and protectors, but feminism targeted this norm, henceforth destroying the family and marriage, given that so many modern women prescribe to their nonsense.
Do you want to tell us what is the wage gap?
Well, it's where women are being paid less.
For what?
Working?
First off, it's been illegal to pay women less for the same job since 1963. If it is so prevalent, you would see more people getting fined, sued, and companies shut down. Also, if it was the case, for example, that you could pay a woman, say, 30% less than a man to do the exact same job, companies would exclusively hire women. Because what is the primary interest of a business?
Money.
So, as a business owner or as a corporation, if you can save 30% on employment by hiring women only, then you would do it.
You know what else should be illegal for men to do?
What should it be illegal for men to do this time?
I promise this will be the last one.
I highly doubt that.
They should not be able to open their mouths.
What?
That's it. Jail! No possibility of parole either, baby.
Of course. That makes perfect sense after all. Especially in today's society where personal sensitivity is at an all-time high. Where because some men say things that upset some women, naturally it's the most logical course of action to jump on the popular bandwagon of making videos disparaging men. Because that's what we do now. Instead of just ignoring things that we don't like or actually posing some kind of logical counterargument, no, instead we say things like this, that it should be illegal for men to open their mouths, simply because individuals lack the personal fortitude to be able to withstand opinions that they don't happen to like. Oh yes, the future is bright, indeed, isn't it?
If men can't control themselves, seeing women in skirts, who let them control whole countries?
Can I just ask, what war is this that we're all fighting?
It's the war on feminism is the war I'm fighting. And feminists are fighting a war on family, motherhood, fatherhood, and family. And that needs to end immediately or as soon as possible. Feminism does not mean equality. If they really cared about equality, and I wish they did, they would call it equalism. And I believe that feminists, when they present a choice to women between career and motherhood, it's a fake choice. It's not real. Because they're pushing an agenda behind it to push them to delay motherhood.
I'm a mother with a successful career.
I'm very happy for you. That's wonderful. I think you made a great choice. I think motherhood is awesome, and you should have as many babies as you want and not get bullied by feminists for it.
Actually, the feminist movement really began with Emmeline Pankhurst, the suffragette who fought for the right of equality of a vote.
Many of the men who fought in the First World War did not have the right to vote. And so right there is an example of how feminism has lied to us about its origins and its aims, because it's taught us a false history of the past. Many of us have the idea that men had the right to vote for decades.
Feminism has been a complete lie, and many women now realize it. Feminism told women that they did not need men. The exact quote was, "Women need men like a fish needs a bicycle." Hypergamy is frowned upon by feminists, so after this rhetoric, men listened and now have no interest in dating or being in a relationship with these modern women. Feminism also told women that they were no different from men, so casual sex and hookups became the norm. In fact, these modern women now have vastly surpassed men in body count. These modern women lost value in the eyes of men, and many are unable to find meaningful relationships since men lost all respect for them. Feminism lied to women that pursuing a career was more fulfilling than marriage and motherhood, resulting in many women delaying motherhood. These women did not consider that their biological clock was ticking, and whenever they felt ready to settle down and become mothers, men had no interest in being with dinosaurs. That is why these modern women are angry that men prefer to date younger women and not them. Well, it's themselves to blame for believing a lie, only to find themselves about to hit the wall if not done so already.
What about women that always say, like, women don't get paid as much as men?
Yeah.
I always hear that. How do you respond to that?
It drives me insane. It drives me
insane.
insane.
Is that a fact?
But
that's true, no?
It is not true when they do the same jobs as men. I'm sorry you want to work at Vogue and pick out pretty bags for a photo shoot, but you don't get paid as much as an engineer. Men and women have different interests. We are biologically different. When I was in school, every single girl that I was friends with was majoring in either comms or TMD fashion, right? The truth is that if you go into a career and you want to be a buyer for Macy's and men are, taking business classes and want to go be CEOs of hedge funds, they're going to make more money. We have different interests. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Men and women are not the same. We are biologically different. We have biological predispositions. The idea that women should want to climb the top of a ladder and, go into corporate America and be there forever. Women want to have kids, right? So there's another reason that they're not making as much money as men is because a lot of women want to stay home with their children, which is an admirable goal, which feminism tries to wipe away. Like, oh, if you want to stay at home, something that women say to me all the time. Why don't you make your husband a sandwich? Okay. Is he hungry? Does he want a sandwich? Did he say something? I make my husband food the last 4 nights. I made my husband dinner. I don't understand this weird they're trying to shame women for taking care of their families. That is another element of feminism that I cannot stand. It's an attack on family and these things that work. It works.
But
men are biologically unable to have children. So the aspiration to climb a ladder forever, to wake up every single day and not have to worry about being pregnant for 9 months, that makes sense. We're different creatures,
Do you take into account the fact that on average a male full-time employee works longer hours than a female full-time employee?
Not directly, no. But we annualise the part-time hours and those that have worked full-time but for part of the year.
What about if you did on an hourly rate? What would be the gender hourly pay gap?
We don't have that data set.
You don't? Okay, so if a woman was working fewer hours but earning the same rate per hour as a man doing the same job, would that show up as a gender pay gap?
The gender pay gap is another lie being shoved down our throats by feminism. These feminists come out with outrageous claims that women get paid only 80% of what men earn. So, if a woman works as a nurse, it means she is demanding to be paid at the same rate as a doctor. On the other hand, both men and women working the same job get paid the same, but feminists want you to think otherwise. In the case of professional sports, feminists claim that professional women athletes get paid way less than their male counterparts. This is indeed true, but the reason is that there are more fans, much more revenue generated in men's sports than in women's sports. Men also put in more hours at work than women. As Candace Owens explains, the career choices between men and women differ greatly, with men pursuing higher paying careers, while women often go after lower paying careers. These women have a choice of what to do to enhance their wages, but instead only bicker and create mountains out of molehills.
In what sense is our society male-dominated?
The fact that the vast majority of wealth is owned by men, the vast majority of capital is owned by men. Women do more unpaid labour.
A huge proportion of people who are seriously disaffected are men. Most people in prison are men. Most people who are on the street are men. Most victims of violent crime are men. Most people who commit suicide are men. Most people who die in wars are men. People who do worse in school are men. Where's the dominance here precisely? What you're doing is you're taking a tiny substrata of hyper-successful men and using that to represent the entire structure of Western society. There's nothing about that that's vaguely